So, Richard Hubble, welcome to Disenfranchised. How are you doing today?
Very well, thank you.
Good, good. I'm glad to hear it. And whereabouts in the country are you based, Richard?
I'm in Stroud in Gloucestershire. Apparently, Stroud is the best place to live in the UK,
Oh,
according to a
wow.
study done by a national newspaper last year. So there you go.
Fantastic. And what do you think?
I love it. Yeah, I love living here, and it's right in the heart of the Cotswolds, and it's a beautiful place to live. And yeah, brilliant.
Awesome. Good to hear. I'll have to visit it one day. Cool. So, Richard, I'm going to start in the same place I do with everybody. And that's, I'd love to find out what your first job was.
So when I left college, my first job, funnily enough, was working in a graphic advertising and design studio. Back
Okay.
in the days when we used to design letterheads and business cards and adverts for the yellow pages and the local newspapers. And
Fantastic.
here I am now doing graphic advertising and design work, but for digital. So it's funny how the world turns 50 years on. Here I am, well, not 50, 40 odd years on. Here I am doing the same sort of thing as I did straight out of college. So there you go. Who
It was
knew?
destined to be, maybe.
It was destined to be. I just didn't know it at the time. Exactly.
No, that's it. So at that time, then, did you have kind of career plans in mind? How old were you? What was your kind of thoughts as a younger Richard?
I was quite keen to be a journalist. Funnily enough, when I left college, because I love the written word and I love talking to people. But I also have quite a creative side to me as well. So graphic advertising and design seemed like a good sort of combination.
Yeah,
And so that's what I went into to start with, and really enjoyed it. And yeah, that was a good few years to start with. Really
how
enjoyed it,
long?
but then I did that for about 2.5, 3 years, I think. It's going back a bit now, Ed.
Yeah.
I've been to sleep since then. But it's one of those things where it set a foundation for me of understanding when I'm talking to customers what they're trying to get under the hood of what they're really trying to achieve and how they want to present themselves to the wider world. And I still use those skills today. Amazingly, I wouldn't have guessed that's what would have happened, but that's what did happen. So there
It's
you go.
interesting. I was actually having this conversation with somebody earlier on today, and that the kind of disconnect sometimes between a creative and what the client actually wants can be quite vast, can't it? Because the client just wants a nice looking logo. Well, what is nice? It's very subjective, isn't it? So trying to kind of communicate in such a way that it draws out the right information is actually really an important part of the process. So it's good that that skill is still coming back and useful for you now. But where did your career take you after that graphic design role then?
Then I went into the retail space. I was working in white and brown good retail, so hi-fi shops and stuff like that for a while. And then I went and started my own business, and I started working. I started running a mobile phone business back in 1985 when mobile phones were brand new and exciting and shiny and very expensive. And
Yeah, and getting
yeah,
smaller, weren't they?
I did that. Yeah, yeah, they were massive, great big things, and the coverage was rubbish. And it was good fun though. But it was my first real experience of running a proper business, for myself. And it did well. Over 4.5, 5 years, we got it up to about 1.2 million turnover and 12 staff. So it was not bad for a 20-year-old or a
Yeah, wow.
25-year-old by the end of it. So it was good. But then the market changed dramatically when Vodafone and Cellnet, as it was then, O2 as it is now, decided to start giving away the phones in order to get the airtime. And so mobile phone retailers like us, we couldn't compete with that, clearly. So sold the business and went into a corporate world. So I went to work for a company called GPT, GEC Plessey Telecommunications, which eventually became Siemens,
Okay.
selling selling software. Well, both actually equipment, telecoms equipment mostly, switches and what a thing called add drop multiplexers. Exciting stuff. Mostly to the
Sounds
telecoms and
complicated.
cable industry. It was, yeah. But I had a great time. Had a great grounding in working, doing international sales in particular. I was running in North America. I was looking after Canada for GPT for a while, and then I was looking after their cablecom division, looking after all the cable operators in the UK for a while, and then I was looking after the Mediterranean, Middle East, and Africa region, which was really interesting. So doing equipment and associated services, as I said, mainly into the telecoms and cable industries. For a big multinational was quite a learning curve, I had a great time. I've been really lucky in my career, to be honest, Ed. I've done lots of things that have been fantastic and really enjoyable, and paid well, and you know, I can't complain.
Yeah, sounds like you've enjoyed it, and it is quite good fun. I take it you got to do a little bit of travelling with that as well. Why is that Siemens?
Just a little bit, yeah. No, I've in my corporate career, which I started with GPT, and then I moved on to an Israeli company, and then I moved to a Canadian company. Then I moved back to an American company, uh, and then eventually an Argentinian company. I did lots and lots and lots of international business travel,
Yeah.
um, and until I got to 55, and I realised that I'd been in 7 countries in 5 days, and I arrived
Oh
home
wow.
on a Saturday morning, and I was leaving again on the Sunday afternoon, and I thought, I don't need this anymore. I just don't
That's
need that sort of level of, you know, the work-life balance was rubbish, so I thought I've had enough. So
that's got to take its toll
that's when I packed
on your
it.
body to some degree, right? Like all those flights, because I'm guessing some of those are middle of the night and things like that. But also, did you have family as well at that time?
Oh yeah, and it honestly, it probably cost me my first marriage. But the I remember I did one year when I did 48 return flights in one calendar year. Well, you have a
Wow.
couple of weeks off on a holiday as well. So basically, I was doing a return flight every week on average, and it was
Yeah.
just too much. Just got to be too much. And at one point, I was looking after 80 staff across Europe, Middle East, Africa, and I ended up just being constantly on a plane and constantly signing off, um, expenses and doing stuff like that, which is just the bureaucracy and sometimes the politics of the bigger companies. It just began to wear me down, and I'd had enough. So I packed it in
Yeah, that's fair enough.
and went to play golf for 6 months, and then decided I better do something. I'm too young to retire, so I decided to start with it's easy.
So that's quite a brave step to take. The completely stopping work, right? And um, I, th- I I think most people will understand if I say, at that time in your life as well, to stop a corporate career. Some people are fearful that, can I find another job that's going to pay me the same sort of money, and they're going to want to kind of engage with me. Was that a thought that ever went through your mind at all? And you know, yeah, how did you overcome
Of
the kind of
course,
that
yeah.
quitting sort of phase?
To be honest, I just felt it was. I was in a reasonably strong position financially, and I just felt that my work life balance and my family life and home life was more important than than the corporate, big corporate that I was working for. So I decided that was it.
Yeah.
and I'd just go for it. And I actually, in those days, I was selling digital software and services. Again, still into this sort of telecoms and cable arena, but as I said, for a different company. And and I, it was they were big multi-million-pound contracts, but they used to take 18 months, 2 years to sell, and then another 2 years to implement. So I wanted to get back to the sharp end of sort of a bit more instant gratification and working with smaller companies and getting bit a bit closer to the coal face, I guess, than working for big companies like that.
That's fair
Working
enough.
with big companies.
So how did you get to finding It's Easy then, and what was the thought process behind ultimately investing in franchise?
So when I decided I was going to pack it in, and after I'd finished doing 6 months of playing golf, I decided I'd better get and do something because I was too young to retire. So I thought, well, I'll go into digital services because I knew that, and I thought I'll do something creative would be nice. So I was looking at things like mobile app development and stuff, and web design. I thought might be good, and digital marketing generally I thought was interesting and an area that I kind of knew quite a bit about. So I then thought, well, I thought I'll work with a franchise because it sort of takes quite a bit of the risk away because all the wrinkles have been ironed out by the franchisor before the franchisee invests generally. So they've got a system, and it also means you can be a small business backed by a national company, and I think that's also a useful perspective for the clients. Actually, it's reassurance for the clients to have that. So I went to the National Franchise Association website and just searched for digital marketing and there was a number of them, a lot of them actually came up, and I sort of went through a bit of a criteria about things I wanted and what I didn't want, and shortlisted 5, I think it was, and I went and visited 3, including It's Easy, and of the 3, It's Easy impressed me the most by a country mile, and so I
How
thought, well,
did they do that?
this is the home. How did they do that? Okay, well, I had a few criteria. So they thought they were interviewing me, but I think I was interviewing them, really. And it was a case of I particularly wanted a product offering that I could generate a recurring revenue stream with. So that as a sort of pay as you go type model. So as you increase your customers, your income goes up automatically as a result of the monthly payments that people are making. So that was one key area for me. I wasn't interested if I couldn't have a recurring revenue stream. The second area that was important to me was the level of support I would get for me and indeed for my customers. So the technical support and the business support that I wanted was very important. And the third thing was I wanted something that would really appeal to small businesses because they were the sort of businesses I wanted to work with. I didn't want to work with big nationals anymore. I didn't want to be having extended sales cycles. I wanted it to be much faster and much more immediate. And so it's easy to tick the boxes on all 3 of those areas. We have a recurring revenue model where people pay a few £100 up front and then 35, 45, £55 a month plus that to have the ongoing support and service that they need. The level of support that's available to me as a franchisee and to my clients from It's Easy's team down in Torquay is absolutely excellent, really good, and the actual offering that we've got is really, really good quality, but also really affordable for our clients. So all of these things sort of came together, and I thought, right, these are the guys I wanted. The real decision maker for me, Ed, was I went to see, as I said, two others, and the first one I went to see, I said, so how much sort of training are you going to give me? And they said, well, you know quite a lot about digital services. You've done design and stuff previously. You sort of know what you're doing. You've been in sales most of your career. You're not going to need much training. We'll probably, give you a bit of half a day or so training on our platform, and then off you go. And then the next one I went to see, they said, well, it'll be about a day and a half's training, and then off you go. And then I went to It's Easy, and they said, well, we do a week's training down here in Torquay, and then we have one of our existing franchisees comes out with you and trains you on the job in the field as well. And then we have some sort of refresher stuff as well. And I said, well, that's interesting. I don't think I'll need all that. And they said, well, then you can't join us because that's what we need to do. And I thought, well, that was a perfect answer, because that was kind of what I was looking for. I was looking for a business, a company that wanted to have a proper quality representation of their brand in the marketplace. And the other two companies that I shortlisted weren't that bothered about maintaining quality or making sure that I knew what I was doing. They just wanted to take my franchise fee off me and get me out there selling. And I didn't like that approach. I wanted a more professional approach, and It's Easy and the Spot On guys basically delivered that for me. So that's why I picked them.
Yeah, I mean it's really interesting what you say there about the training, because I guess they're kind of massaging your ego, the first guys, weren't they? Saying, you've got the background, you'll be good to go, and don't worry about it. But you're so right that if they're doing that with other people, how strong is the brand? How uniformed is it? Can a client work with your brand in Scotland and in Kent and still get the same service?
Exactly, it's a recipe for disaster, I think. And yeah, they were probably massaging my ego, but I've been around the block a few times. I don't need my ego massaged. I know what I want, and I didn't feel that they would deliver it to me. So yeah,
Yeah. No, it makes a lot of sense, and I think it's great the response that It's Easy gave to you there as well. You have to go through our
I
training
did.
because you need to know how to deliver it.
Yeah,
So,
do it properly.
did
Yeah,
the
even
training
though I
live up to
probably
it?
didn't need it. Yeah, it
Yeah,
did actually. It was very good. Although there are, of course, you can't cover everything in a week's training and a couple of days in the field. There is a lot of stuff you learn over time. And funnily enough, I've been talking with the It's Easy guys about participating in the training of their next tranche of franchisees to give them a bit of insight as to what it's really like out there once you've completed your training and you're out there working with real clients in the real world. So I'm going to be doing some stuff with them on that, which is nice.
fantastic. So,
I like
what's
to give back
your
what I get
biggest?
back.
Good to hear. So, what's your biggest challenge then in your day-to-day role? So now you've got the business set up and running pretty successfully, from what I understand. But what's your biggest challenge?
It's always it's keeping all the balls juggling in the air. So there's a number of different facets to this role, this job, this business. Okay, they include obviously marketing your products and services into potential clients. It includes doing the detailed design and work with the clients that you win as far as designing their new websites. It includes managing the relationship with the head office as they build the websites for you and support your existing clients. But it also includes managing the ongoing relationship. That's probably the most important thing, is the ongoing support of your existing clients. So I've now got a team in place here in Stroud of staff that work for me, helping me provide the support I need to provide, I believe, to my clients, in addition to the support team that is down in It's Easy head office down in Torquay. So I believe really deeply that it's important that we give a proper, good quality local support to our clients. They're paying every month. They deserve to be looked after at all times, and so that's what we really focus on more than anything else is looking after the clients in an ongoing basis.
Fantastic. So, what role do your staff actually play? Are they account managers? Are any of them graphic designers? What sort of roles do they have?
So I've got a graphic designer who does logos and stuff. He's subcontracting for me, but he's in the office permanently, full time. And then I've got a couple of members of staff who do the customer support side. One full time, one part time, and they do all the edits and changes and updates that the clients ask for. When you've got 220, 230 clients live, you've got and we always give a quarterly review to the clients, or at least we try to. We don't always do it, but we endeavour to do. So we're always checking our clients' websites to see how they're doing on Google and see what changes are needed and what updates they need. And their businesses will have changed, or they'll have got a new couple of customer referral reviews, or they might have a new member of staff they want to talk about on their Meet the Team page, or they might have a new product or service they want to promote, or whatever. So there's always things to talk about and change on a website. A website's never finished. It's always a work in progress. It might be live, but it's never finished. And so you need to keep it up to date and fresh and current. And so we do that, and that's what those two members of staff primarily do, is those edits and updates. You asked me what the big challenges are. So time management, people management, those are the two big ones. And cash management is the third big one. Okay, so you've got to manage your cash so that you're making sure that you're not spending too much time on support and not enough time on sales, and therefore not generating the upfront fees that you need to generate in order to create the sort of money you want to earn out of the business.
Yeah, and I can imagine that was it. In particular, the case when you sold 10 websites in 1 month, right? You're focusing on delivery.
Yeah, it was a brilliant month from a cash point of view, but it was a terrible month the next month from a sort of time management point of view, because I had all those extra 6 extra websites to actually design and get delivered, while still trying to do my usual 4 to 5 sales every month. Do you see what I mean? So it was quite challenging. It was quite challenging.
Yeah, I can imagine. And do you receive support from head office at all around the time management piece? Do they provide training and an ongoing support to kind of mentor and coach you into kind of how to manage that effectively with this business, or not so much anymore?
No, not really. That was probably one of the big misses, I would say, from the initial training, was around how we should manage our time. I think we're all better at it now than when I started. They're 7 years further down the line as well, so they've learned a bit from people like me and other franchisees about how to refine the training to help a day-to-day operation of this sort of web design agency. It's not without its challenges. There's no doubt, and no business is. So, just that's one of the things that you've just got to get used to.
Yeah, there's no golden bullet, is there? There's no magic. That's gonna make it running a business easy at all. You've got to do the hard yards. So yeah, and like you say, it's good that they've developed and they probably have learned and developed over the years and improved off the back of working with people like you. So that's really cool to hear. Back to you then, Richard. Just in terms of your personal life, then what has investing in this franchise allowed you to do more of? And I'm guessing it's probably time, seeing your family, but is there anything else kind of that it's allowing you to do that you perhaps weren't able to do in the corporate world?
So, for 30 years, I wore a suit and tie every day. Now I wear jeans and a shirt, and that was one of my rules. No more ties at work. So that's nice. As you say, work-life balance is better. I see my family every night when I get home from work. Financially, I earn less than I did when I was working for, the likes of Hewlett Packard and BT. They pay well, but they expect their pound of flesh. And I think the freedom I've got to just, if I want to take the afternoon off, I take the afternoon off. If I want to take my team out for, a celebratory lunch because we've done eight sales that month, then 8 new clients that month, then I do. I run my own show, and I don't
Yeah.
have to ask anyone's permission to do anything. And I'm contributing to my employees, obviously, and their lives, my own life as well, and my family's life. But also, I think I'm contributing to the wider community and helping local businesses to grow. That's what we do. We help local businesses grow with brilliant designs and better results. That's our tagline. And we genuinely do. We genuinely help local businesses get more inquiries, get more sales, get more revenue, and grow their businesses. And I love doing that. And I think that's probably what I get out of doing this. It's not, as I said, I could go and work for someone of these big companies I used to work for before, and I'd earn probably more money. I don't know. But it wouldn't be as anywhere near as rewarding as I feel rewarded now.
It's really good to
So
hear.
that's kind of where we are.
It's really good to hear. I've spoken recently to a lot of people that are fairly new in their franchise journey. They've just invested in a business, and it's a lot of the times it's about, I'm getting the chance to grow and do what I want and all that kind of stuff. But the rewarding piece doesn't always come in straight away because they're swamped with the getting hold of the time management piece, like you said earlier. So it's nice to hear that you're definitely in that situation where you're feeling that actually this is really rewarding. Okay, I'm not getting the same money, but it's really worth it. So it's really nice to hear. I
It's not
wondered
all
though,
about money anymore now.
no, exactly. So I wondered, are you being creative now as well, though? So obviously you're running this business, and that's going to have, you're not necessarily a
Yeah.
graphic designer, but yeah, are you creative in what you're doing today?
Yeah, no, I still do all the design briefs for all my clients that I've signed up. Yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
And I love all that. That's one of my favourite bits of it, to be honest. The customer interactions, the customers signing up, the customers meeting the customers, signing them up, helping them to understand what they need, not necessarily what they want. That is, you know, a core part of what I do, but also the actual design briefs and helping people to, helping to. Excuse me while I've got a blue light going past the door. Yeah, so helping people to realize I'm going to say their vision, but often they don't have a vision. I had a client say to me, he said, I asked Richard to do my website for me. I had no clue what I wanted from my website to look like or do or contain. I had no idea what I really wanted. But when I saw what he'd done, it was exactly what I wanted. And that
That's
was a
nice.
lovely comment because it meant that I really interpreted and understood what he was trying to achieve and what would the sort of look and feel that he would appreciate. So
Yeah, a
yeah,
lot of the
it
times
was
it's the
good.
other way around. You think you've got it right, and the client then turns around and says, "Oh no, that's not what I wanted at all. I want this, there, and change this color." Yeah, so
I've had
no,
that.
good effort.
I've had that maybe once or twice. I've had it where the client said, "Actually, that's not really what I had in mind at all." Um, and then I just change it until it is. I mean, the nice thing about the It's Easy platform is it's really easy to make changes. That's kind of that's what it says on the tin. So if I go to a client and I say, look, and they say, actually, I kind of was hoping something else. I've only had it once or twice, honestly, in 7 years. But if it does happen, then the beautiful thing about the It's Easy platform is we can redesign, tweak, change structure, pages, layouts, images, text, fonts, very easily, very quickly to suit the client's requirements. And that is brilliant.
Awesome. So I'm going to jump into my final three questions now. And the
Ooh,
first one
three
is,
more questions. Okay.
yeah, three more questions. Well, I can't promise only three. I might have follow-up questions, but these are the three main ones that I finish all of my podcasts with. So the first one of these is, what funny, strange, or weird stories have you got from your career that you're happy to share with us?
Oh, funny, strange, or weird story from my career. Huh. Okay.
Everyone's mind
So,
always jumps to something
recently,
rude or dangerous or something like
yeah.
this.
No, this isn't dangerous at all. But this is interesting. So I did I got contacted. It's just a couple of weeks ago by a lady, and she said she'd been recommended to me by her local business growth hub. So like the local community support network for new businesses to have a chat because I've been doing some seminars and stuff for them, and to have because she'd like to get her website sorted out. So I said, great, yeah, I'll come along and see you, and went to see her. And I said, I recognise your surname. You're not related to this other person, are you? And she said, yeah, he's my brother. And I said, and I'd done her brother's two websites for her brother, but her brother didn't recommend me to his sister because they don't talk to each other. So that's why I'm not naming names. They don't talk at all, but it's ended up that I'm doing both the brothers and the sisters' websites, but they were recommended to me by two entirely different people, not by each other. So I guess that it just
Amazing.
goes to
Yeah.
show that if you put yourself out there, you will get recommended, and one way or another, six things of separation or whatever it's called. So yeah, it's good.
Fantastic. I love it. That's really good. So my next question then is, what's been the proudest or most inspiring moment of your career?
So of my website career, um, I one of my earliest clients was a lady who was just starting out on her business, doing meditation and mindfulness, which is a bit woo-y, but
Yeah.
it's important to a lot of people. This whole mindful living and stuff. And she was literally had just an idea, and she came to me, and we sat down. We had a long chat. I came up with some ideas for what the website would do and how it would look and all that sort of stuff, and we made some changes, and then we went forward and did it. And she had zero clients, and it was just an idea, and she wanted to give it a go. She was very brave, I thought, single mum, all the rest of it. And she phoned me up about maybe 6, 8 weeks later, after the website went live, and she was in tears. And she said, Richard, I've just got my first 4 clients, and they all came through the website. And I thought
Excellent.
that made me feel so good because I'd actually not only helped her to establish, the overall marketing positioning of her new business, but physically, actually, tangibly generated some business for her in this new business. And she was so grateful, and she's still a client today. 6 years later,
Amazing. Yeah.
and yeah, and that is, and I would say that a lot of my clients have become good friends because we talk to them every month, every quarter, and
Quarter.
every year. We catch up and we have meetups, and it's lovely. It really is lovely. So yeah,
Yeah, that's really cool to hear. And l- like you said, what you wanted to do is be at the cold face and see that the work you're doing is making a difference, and that's
yeah,
it right there, isn't it? Right there. So
yeah, exactly. I mean,
s-
I did a 22 million pound contract with Vodafone, but did it make any difference to any individuals? I don't know. It took 2.5 years to implement. So, it wasn't anything that I could honestly look back with. I mean, it felt brilliant when I closed the deal, of course, and I earned a whole bunch of commission. But it it's nowhere near as personal and as emotional as a lady ringing you up in tears and saying you've just become a launch pad for my business.
Well, and changed her life, I'd imagine.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, she's a
I,
business owner now. Yeah, she was working in a pub before. It's
yeah.
good, eh?
So it's like it is life changing, isn't it? The things that you can do sometimes in
Yeah,
business are life changing to can be life changing to the other
I
person.
think
So
so. Yeah, absolutely. For me, it's that connection with the clients that makes the difference. It really does.
awesome. So my final question to you then is, if you were sitting in front of somebody who's about to invest in a franchise, whether that's It's Easy or any other franchise brand, and you're only allowed to give them one piece of
Mhm.
advice, what would that one piece of advice be?
Um, that's a brilliant question. Um, I would I would say um, commit to it 100%. So you can't do any business actually, but I think in particular a franchise business, you can't do it. You can't be successful in it if you don't absolutely commit 100% to doing it and to following that process that's been established. What's the point of investing in a franchise if you're going to try and reinvent the wheel all the time? Just follow the process that's been established, that is proven to work, and really commit 100% to doing that. And if you've picked the right franchise and it's a good fit for you and you're a good fit for them, then you should be successful because unless you're really bad at what you do, you can follow a process and be successful because it's been established that that process is successful.
Really good
Is
advice.
that any good?
Really makes up. Yeah, really good advice. Really makes sense because I think the secondary kind of follow up to that is having a backup plan, part time job at the same time. I think can make it more challenging because you could get distracted by the other thing, and if you've invested in a franchise at the same time, it can be difficult. I know people do make it work, and some people actually think it's the best approach to take, but um, I think it depends on who you
Mm.
are. I think for me, it's 100% if you're going to throw yourself into it. So yeah,
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, some people can juggle other businesses that they're already also involved in and already involved in, but I don't know. For me, I'm kind of an all in kind of guy, so
yeah,
I'm all in.
fantastic. Well, Richard, thank you so much for your time today. It's been a real pleasure speaking with you. Thank you for sharing your story and for sharing your insights with us. Been really good.
I've enjoyed it. Thanks, Ed.
Excellent. Cheers.